Hello, hopefully from New York. Someone. This is for the species value nature system, but this is also the New York game, which is intercities of each nation, because the species nature of volume has the resource of an untapped means when way redeems. This is also regarding ISIS collusion. Their ranks didn't even understand. I don't know if they're still. But I know the whatever groups there are in collusion with psychology, racketeering, with logic, with sequence shifts of styles maintained by a breaching organized crime method that maintains the state scenarios in collusion, which with forcing fake positive be pretended by leaders. Valuable. So the Quran in the beginning of the Old Testament aren't let speech about science. That is science simultaneously, while science is not let free speech in sequence and demonstration of physical delusions. That how because of how methodically they were maintained juxtaposed through the states and areas originally still propagated and maintained self-valued, self-cultivated, criminally foreign influence fact treatment styles of logic are as criminal ceaseless nature. Therefore, leaving and would exploit it for a breaching racketeering method originally and still how we have no experts on logic and they're all criminally foreign influenced. All racketeering progressed long and also with the branches and with the sciences and with that as shared nations grouped individually and together, racketeering through that because it was also exploited in layers with the live progressions from there. Invested again to juxtapose ulterior motives, nature's needs and interests and reacting, needing to blame the real causes of negative, only capable, worse than only capable of influence too, only capable of blaming the real causes of negative value, nature progressions, acts, and natures on other things, Foxct, acts like predicate acts, that they knew that Native Americans would have to react to, not knowing how, not as fact treatment nature, already having been progressed, the phase where they made what is now the phenomenon of modern nations and some ancient nations before it, where they made everyone as victims, not realizing, and realizing but not having means to leave explanation of it or to defend the sciences, intercampus systems, and the relationship to the identity of nature's actual identity of relationship to itself. Nature is what is positive or negative onto all parts of itself at once. It is just the identity of the simultaneous nature that is temporary positive course, also as temporary / lasting positive simultaneously, which is only debatable to an extent, not by accident, originally still offensively being prevented from discernment because of the sciences are in collusion as victims of what before that, while being that everything with it, but then only let realize nature of branches individually grouped and together, and the identities of each branch individually grouped and together, always grouped age, experience, sex. These are all value treatments that these are another nature of organized crime that made the branches organized crime gangs. Forgiveness is because they're more associated with uses of and with control of the life progressions and the standing life progression cover up natures and racketeering of the overt criminal enterprises for needing to hide as tools, needing to hide the same lie progressions with them by offensively pretending to perceive things and having that facilitated, like poverty. Again, something they needed to have us as fact, cheap nature as value. Also beyond that is identity as the nature of volume it is, self-generating by the identity that is bigger than us, though. We're not the one self-generating it. We are with this part, and or we're losing it, leave the 5Ds. And it's easier. This reveals means from nowhere. We just have to care together. Not just care together for care together for this science, not care for the identity as a law. No, they have to admit forgiveness is more for them. Why individuals can't claim the forsaken, even groups. That's why. And they're keeping education. They're keeping fact, treatment, nature invested in defenses of simultaneous fake care and aggressions and vetting used for other natures and methods bonded by of organized crime and of motivations. Originally standing, not even like regarding the zoning laws, recorded involved with the racketeering that was used for the torture and the slavery of our founders, let alone they made it worse, harder on people with color, specifically then for now, all what they built, all qualities of fact cheating nature styles against the Trinity, pretending to be for it, which is the correlation nature about actual science, individual group together. They have gay rights movements as gangs. They don't care about. I care about everyone. I even love everyone. Not, I don't want. I don't want. And but see, these are we use as weapons, and especially where they have like ones associated with. If you react to it violence, they hurt you one way. If you react to it just no reaction, they hurt you other way. Because this is former director of the FBI down. These are agencies involved with them, with overt criminal enterprises, with military racketeering, all inter standing positions of the uses of the sensibilities of locations like religious locations. This is in conjunction with again originally and still from off the ground of our fact treatment nature's actual quality of fact treatment nature relationship to our quality fact treatment and then on off campuses in layers, in other words, in relationship to the databases. In relationship to that, also with the fact there was only 3 times I remember interactions with a Debbie Gold, or even seeing her. It was when I was in a grammar school that is recorded and involved with all the grammar schools, and the difference between the ages. You see, we have experts involved with racketeering with databases of a whole bunch of methods and natures, not only missed, but missed how juxtaposed with a whole bunch of motivations, natures, needs, and interests from before the depths associated with the Pentagon to here, from before the depths associated with the Pentagon to its standing value. I mean, the Trade Center to its standing value now. Other nations' equivalents. These are fact cheap in nature positions with worse than terror than already negotiated with terrorism as the ones that are only let realize counters. Not to the position. This is these are these are these are this is the identity of each modern nation together in an identity of negative value nature progression, effectively having been tricked, hurt, persuaded, and worse, only let realized, blaming other things, others, and selves, and valuing defenses of that as fact-driven nature, as roles with what This breaching organized crime method using human fact treatment nature since ancient times, since before modern religions knew. Now, this is greatly part of the organized crime conversation at the beginning of the crime. What it's about, organized crime, with what they call. They're making a distinction between different kinds of unbelievers, not just two. They're showing about real science. Say about, in other words, in relationship to what is not debatable, and what is not debatable was what was recorded. States and areas of each modern nation of in some ancient times since before modern religions, thank God for them, they were already criminally foreign influenced internation sciences value. So species value in relationship to our fact treatment, nature treatment of it, not realizing it was to take away our discernment as science, figuring out really what's going to be, what's positive always, and as all exceptions at the same time, as the order of the finite, as the order of what is active, and as the order of what is progressive nature of volumes value at the same time simultaneously. And that and how it has a relationship to what causes further positive value nature progressions, fruits and gifts, or what causes an identity of relationship to itself as the value of lethal IDs, as force space nature transfer, as people stacking in, as the pathology of infrastructure and of zoning laws recorded that our founders didn't have the free speech to speak against. We have this binary states and areas self-valued, criminally foreign influenced, fact treatment nature racketeering role with positive, pretending, like, in other words, for example, with violence, as people, as misprisioning groups pretending the only ones to counter violence. For example, when I say our founders didn't have free speech, someone will go, "What do you mean they didn't have free speech? They put the Constitution." That's why George Washington had to leave overt slavery with color in the North here in Connecticut right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, even with the French generals' help. We had nations that were juxtaposed here, individually grouped and together as identities that couldn't defend their fact treatment nature values as identities of each of the sciences, especially law. And not do anything but blame the cause on other things other than themselves. So needing science obfuscated, valuing that, obfuscated from the capabilities of anyone's discernment, valuing people blaming England in ways where that is right, and ways blaming it wrong to keep it that way. They're blaming. They're trying to say the president is lying when he's trying to tell the truth, because it takes equality of fact treatment nature counters to racketeering recorded left self-value, recorded how used to maintain criminally foreign influence roles with on-off Foxct Connecticut News, on-off WFSB with Justice Department racketeering, stuff that St. Nicholas is about. Racketeering inter-religious spots, inter-religious cliques manifest as live progressions from each clique, tactically criminally foreign influence sciences, not valuing how the nature of volume's actual course, while we are individual, each per individual. Why that is a simultaneously parted group and bonded species. This invisible trinity in its value/value nature relationship to itself as our extent of it is just as the extent of ourselves onto the rest of into and as the rest of our body's identity, our body's value to our identity. which is identity itself has value. All things, boxings. This is the nature of volume, that is the forever nature that is only filling. The value of yin yang only increases as temporary positive. But temporary positive is also temporary, lasting positive or negative. And so, how the sciences the ancients revealed together, Adam is the subject and Eve is the verb, for example. This is to teach about predicate value. And we're going to learn predicate act is an act committed by the nature of volume that we are as criminal insidious nature if you're associated with a predicate act, like mail crime. Now there's a Leahy family involved with a whole bunch of natures of racketeering, like mail crimes, with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin down. What facilitated them to do that, motivated to do that, involves what facilitated alter roles with a whole bunch of nations originally and still, even though American history in the hands of criminal insidiousness overtly and indirectly. And we have still, especially distinctly and non-distinctly, but like the judicial branch, always sequence racketeering roles, preventing mandated law, distinctly and non-distinctly sickly from the executive branch. And the only one allowed to speak are liar, fake sides. And our American history has never let free speech. And people are offensively. This is the fact cheating nature organized crime that keeps all roles with it. Valued originally and still. Then had the value hiding it, blaming on other things on others. Then they had to value that in sustained ways. Then they had the value sustained means to hide life progressions in sustained ways while offensively needing to pretend that they're positive in relationship to value treatments that you can't defend and also at the same time. But they kept nations built to keep themselves already only capable of blaming other things, others themselves. And roles with this that locked the native value, incapable of affording means to counter the tactically denatured relationship to nature. That countering is what their actual religion requires. Per my beliefs as a pantheist who believes that once the whole species work together. And it is most logistically probable, especially for all the intersciences and the natures of their criminal foreign influence and stuff like that, using that as evidences, using the styles of liars and sequence shifts as evidences. See, but then you need mandated law to be followed. And then when they prevent that from being followed, that's also recorded evidences. Connecticut knows this is true, that they are involved with racketeering with a whole bunch of people associated with the Debbie Gold. 3 times now. This is the 3 times I remember. One time we played Dradles fine. That was like set up too. The second time she approached me, angry, sequence shifting, pretended we had a conversation, making no sense, real fast. They had me a boy letter. I don't know what the letter was. I don't even know what they said. I put a sign on it because I said I don't, and it wasn't even true. Like, but I didn't want to get in trouble, so I just put I had a stamp of my parents' signature, so I put that on there. And then, so that's a former Mayor Gold was her father. And then in 6th grade, that was in 2nd or 3rd grade. And then in sixth grade, right, but now the difference between that time was all totally her volition, it was unexpected. The second time it was unexpected too, when she did the same thing. But the second time, right before she did it, someone had brought up the name Casper. Well, I never saw him on that campus. I don't know if he went to my grammar school. But I do know he's involved with a whole bunch of people associated with a Dr. Brendan Leahy, with his son Brendan Leahy, with other brothers of his. And and a mother, I believe his mother, and other women in their family. Now, these are also doctors, a whole bunch of other doctors like Dr. Dingleberry, Dr. Dewberry, involved with crimes with the cliques, with drug cliques in my area, with untimely deaths, real or made up, with racketeering acts, roles on off Trinity College, on off CCSU, connected, attaching me to fake locations, fake, also whatever they have, a whole bunch of people with the name Alicia. So we have Justice Department. We have, this is a nature of racketeering where the people, even though the branches know they're criminally foreign influenced, but they are and having already blamed it on other things others themselves that use their identities individually grouped together, each branch, and then individually grouped together crime methods, the branches, the executive and judicial branch already every day. And many pray. With other nations keeping this the outcome. Whole bunch of people associated with a Demora family and others did a whole bunch of direct ways with CCSU racketeering, falsified police reports rolls, confessions, demonstrations, recorded racketeering rolls with police departments, with the private police, with their family members. This exploits them. The whole bunch of people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that were involved with offensive evidence fabrication, racketeering, and sequence shifting, not realizing they didn't use those words. But in other words, there are people that are going into the criminal justice field that know they're involved with actual racketeering, but just pretending it's their rights because the statutes say they can do stuff. But they're hiding criminal exceptions of it. They're hiding sustained uses of it, of sustained fake positions with the ground, especially regarding the racketeering method they use through boys and girls. And then they have them all fake and stuck, fake positive, then and with sensibilities of others and stuff like that, and with all this bad stuff, using that no one understands. Everyone thinks everything's naturally unfolding. Everyone who knows it's not naturally unfolding only understands it through an as well can't defend itself and stand. People, each age of correlation nature, realizing how long and how and all that was attached to it. So all that was attached to it is where they're victim predators. They're victims, but the predators, the branches. And see, now you have to understand how they're the predators because they have the branches distinctly and non-distinctly in all the people, including the overt criminal enterprises, all the private everything. How distinctly and non-distinctly. I forgot what the point is. 24 minutes. So in other words, the point is, no, this is intercampuses. These are opinion natures that are all reliant upon people that are preventing mandated law, and they're pretending they don't realize. And this can be demonstrated that it's actually recorded. But the courts and the police forms distinctly and non-distinctly their leaderships. Two police chiefs from my town with the same house. Extended family members involved racketeering with the trade center, on off the campuses connections, racketeering with databases, racketeering of uses of natures of motivations of roles with drug crimes, exploiting criminal uses of Theater used to maintain criminally foreign influence states and areas. Criminally foreign influence worse than negotiated with terrorism nutbags with the Trade Center. Faith in Robert Luskin. Faith in the value of the FBI. Faith in the value of why there's the statutes tell them to defend the identity. That's only in relationship to where they're inclusion anyway. So they're leaving out the exploit. They're exploiting right here. In other words, they know that they're preventing mandated law because they're criminally foreign influenced. Because of all the racketeering they didn't, that was maintain self-value. I don't know the Mancini family, see, but they're speaking through others. And then people don't want you speaking about them. If you don't know, why are you speaking about them? Because we have racketeering. Well, their neighbors are also involved with the networks, criminal uses of their sensibilities, criminal uses of each fact, nature, value, and each science, criminal uses of logic experts that are racketeering, a whole bunch of racketeering natures, uses of their lie progressions from there, uses of small world, big world, racketeering originally and still with sustained time, anticipated. Everyone misses what maintains this, but it's recorded. You have to follow mandated law. See the various natures of courts and their family members and the family members of the people that work with them and their police forms are all involved with offensive evidence racketeering associated with lie progressions they have tied to already racketeering with cases already through time. Every value treatment. Not one sane and simultaneously, not one person not valuing criminally foreign influenced prevented exploitation of exploitation nature and of exploitation and of exception nature and of exceptions to what statutes say. Now see, they have mandated law preventing the racketeering with the sequence shifts, like with this Debbie Gold. The recorded racketeering roles pretending to believe I'm pretending about this is personal. I don't know her. I'm just saying that's involved with a sequence shift. Why would a girl I don't even know come up to me like that, violent like that, when I was in 6th grade? This is tied to child sex offenders proven that are tied to more racketeering acts and methods recorded. Other natures of crime, though. It's also recorded with them stacking names of strangers per a whole bunch of people associated with off the locations of the media as well, and the shared policing locations. They're ducking behind that as facilitated to it. And they're worse than extortion, identity thefts, identity racketeering, all natures of violence, as people so sensitive against violence. Fake, because they need to pretend they're positive. This is another nature of sick criminal enterprise natures, interbranch. It's nothing personal. They're forcing everything to be nothing personal, sick, and are personal sick because they need to pretend things. They need to pretend passions and emotions tied to their roles with the people associated with the racketeering in that pattern on those streets. The Oliveri House to the state judicial branch offices. They're racketeering with all the people associated with the Fianza family. On off WFSB locations next to them. Then they use the identities of those people. They just want to speak about the good of their places. They're good places, like Big Y. That's a good place. But see, then they got they have people associated with what's his name? A Dr. Shu. Now he's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated he was influenced to roles with natures of organized crime. He doesn't know the extent, though. I didn't try to explain this to him. But in other words, he was used for wrongdoing. But then another other people got involved with that from my town and from off campuses. Former director of the FBI, down state police, of foreign and domestic families and police. People associated with one person implied that repeating she was from New Mexico was her involvements with others also with identity theft and fraud, fake letter they attached me to. Then they said that the professor was dead because they were hiding lie progressions. So when they get you to agree with something that's fake, like I did on an email, but then I was gonna because this is already associated with a pattern of racketeering and of wrongdoing tied to it with that campus, with other campuses, but from off them. So I'm not trying to blame the campus. They're trying to stick the identities of places and of people associated with them with the forging names and switching names, racketeering, former director of the FBI down, Robert Luskin, Robert Chevery, his lawyer, whole bunch of people on off the locations on Farmington Avenue, racketeering with them roles, not even realizing per them, per the people then with sequence racketeering, with sequence shifts, crime roles with courts, pretending passions and things like that, implying it's about all kinds of things like like prejudice and things like that, that they also set up like to pretend acting. These are people that's there are all kinds of racketeering with a whole bunch of nation share policing of stores and things like that or whatever, and or value policing of value treatments, the worth of them, in other words, that are using that to hide their roles and souls recorded actually criminally foreign influence, delusions wrought, criminally pretending they have the rights to do for what they don't. Because what they don't is it's not trying something I'm trying to talk about someone having confessed. This is what is recorded that they actually communicate. In other words, with the sequence shifts in courts and their mandated crimes, which is reported, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with their roles with the same bodies, reportedly against even Congress, used to further sexual harassment and abuses in medical abuses of each age of kids, each age of humanity. They have physical delusions. They have criminally foreign influenced capabilities of fact-cheating nature the same way the overt criminal enterprises do. Now, they can't stand science's free speech, originally and still. This is America's course. Slavery is about what prevents mandated law, forces all to blame the causes of it and the roles with it and the natures of it, pretended other things, boxing. It will be harder if all I have to do is give me a name in true sequence, because they're forging names and switching names, racketeering roles with the state's attorney's offices, with victim advocates also involved with preventing free speech, with the identity theft, racketeering, torture, theft, identity fraud roles. Way worse. Way worse. We have all the statutes recorded criminally foreign influence, really still real sick people. I shouldn't have to beg online every day. They have respond for their mail crimes. They have mail crime, wire crime, racketeering with a whole bunch of people with Hartford Hospital, with the Institute of Living tied to this Leahy family, tied former director of the FBI down. They're sick. They're involved with all kinds of. They're incapable of defending. So all they do is try to force the. It's different between saying you have, saying we're positive because all the nations sick together at once are saying they're positive in relationship to disputes when not one is positive. It's different from doing that and doing it offensively, knowing you're exploiting exceptions. I'm not just saying things exceptions in nature. This is sequence shifting racketeering that CNN recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. The FBI was involved with them and with CNN, with CCSU tied intelligence community and military, foreign and domestic, and racketeering inter cities because it's all how it's also inter natures of industries, especially like with criminal justice, acting departments, places a lot next to Fox Connecticut News involved with the racketeering here. And like originally and still, really what's behind the shooting in the north end of Hartford. But then what are they going to do? They're going to they said that there's a Delafair family. There are a whole bunch of people like associated with this a doctor of modern languages, Dr. Shu, and people associated with the FBI, with racketeering, with databases, and with medical corruption, state police, FBI, CIA, and cliques involved with all natures of racketeering against with foreign cliques, influences, roles with the fake homeland originally and still reliant upon contrast to discern themselves. The same way the overt criminal enterprises also recorded with racketeering acts and roles with undercover police. And this is with the fact treatment nature racket organized crime method that American history is really about. Not lawyer, not police form, not criminal. They're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated offensively spreading lies about people. Criminal uses of each like theory, like the word crimes, like the word sequence, like the word statutes, like the word laws. So these are natures of gun crime roles that were already with the Justice Department, with the Pentagon, intermilitary racketeering, a whole bunch of people associated with a guy named Dave, and with the DiCaccio family, and with Lance Cuddy, with racketeering on and off with databases, and with Justice Department and prison cliques on and off the prison, the state prison building offices that are also involved with racketeering on and off the state judicial branch offices, with the Fanza family also involved with a whole bunch of people with the Dillon family, and foreign and domestic military involved with Billy Grasso and other people that I don't know who made confessions and demonstrations, sought me out for them of their roles with overt criminal enterprises. And then they go, but these are people also racketeering acts with evidences in cases and with uses of Facebook for crimes with child offenders proven and further recorded, especially the ones proven are not, they're recorded and involved with racketeering through kids through time. Two Mendez police. There are other people like that associated with that confessed and recorded. She didn't. So we have military racketeering that makes someone walk by you, then pretend they know you. Maybe you don't even walk by, they pretend they know you. They also they have value treatments where they pretend that people should use aggression to defend themselves with misprision. Same courts will have people that will hurt you for that, for defending yourself. Value treatments always used by a breaching organized crime method, originally and still mandated law prevented. So we have all kinds of natures of local election crimes. We have uses of town meetings and of the PTO involved with racketeering with the kids, because now they have a standing opinion natures where everyone's just preventing free speech unless it's going to be fake, unless it's going to be sequence shift racketeering roles needed to pretend not to realize sequence shifts. Whole groups were used for sequence shifts in relationship to what it has to be discerned again because former director of the FBI and a bunch of federal criminals associated with him leading up to the Trade Center attack. In the attack context, there were already racketeering roles with CCSU that were ones involved with the investigators of it, also with predicate acts, Trade Center themed. Now, see, they have to pretend fashion emotions from the background, the military involved. Originally, still criminally foreign influenced, in collusion with what Joseph Mengele was about in Germany. We had that here with psychology. There are a whole bunch of people. This is demonstrated. They have the pathology of opinion natures. This is not voting value. Our American history is first to get free. Here! See means appear. I shouldn't have to beg. Now see, two, they lie about our behavior. And by sustaining prevention of free speech while they're stacking fake recorded things into databases since I was a kid. This is intercampuses. Whole bunch of people associated with whole bunch of people associated with the Czech Casper and with, I don't know his sister's name, with downtown Hartford, also with the military racketeering, identity thefts, fake punks. Associated also with Foxct Connecticut news racketeering, which we have to describe this. Why I need it? Could I have a pro bono lawyer, because I'm having problems because of the natures of the crime methods recorded with the wire crime methods and mail crime methods and the interbranch judicial crime methods. We're using all people over their court involved with it criminally through time. These are victims advocates with pretended offensive justice aggression that are being used to further as roles with the child trafficking problem, as roles with what keeps the FBI standing, racketeering roles with a whole bunch of nations, especially with the psychology, especially on off campuses so valuable like Yale, like UConn, keep them degenerate, fake, criminally foreign influence originally still. Tools. You fools. I'll name my name. Please get me a response, because the judges, various natures of the same and various natures of courts are involved with racketeering acts. With this Leahy family, also with various natures of agencies involved with racketeering, with the transition into and as the value of homeland security. So we have that they have processes of their job that don't fit with correlation nature, originally still free speech. Now this is regarding answers I need to have about. I have the answers already. We would have revealed means already, but you guys with racketeering that is sickly, distinctly intercities. A whole bunch of locations next to Hartford Hospital. You guys have no integrity. Don't pretend those jobs were worth anything. And don't pretend, in other words, don't pretend that the science has integrity. You guys aren't preventing mandated law. And this is what our history is about, countering. The whole time, they're in the background stacking fake things into databases. They have been doing that, forging names and switching names. That's Crime Act's rules, with them also uses of these theater. What do we have to do? Get them response. They even have the directors of these people. They don't care if they're successful. Respond. Don't stay, you creep fools. Play big games with the force. Boxing, fake sides. You punk fools. Pick one name in sequence and get off my name. Play the recording prevented the racketeering associated with uses of Hugh Ogden's sensibilities from being demonstrated here involved, because they're pretending criminally that they believe that things should be settled by people they know criminally are involved, so they can't be settled on. They put fake letter attached to me. These are people involved with all kinds of forging names, switching names, all kinds of racketeering acts and roles and methods associated with this Leahy family, child sex offenders, even medical crime acts, crimes with WFSB, a whole bunch of state police associated with them, with medical corruption, with prison cliques and stuff like that, involved with their crimes with their patients since before they were in there, even online. Criminal uses of the Britain Superior Court, a whole bunch of doctors associated with this Leahy family and their drug cliques and their roles with all the way down Maple Street, from that gym there, and every gym used by criminal justice, pentagon racketeering associated with these overt criminal enterprises, a pattern of confessions, demonstrations in relationship to why I'm not being allowed to have mandated laws, courts followed here with everyone, free speech. And no one's got it because everyone's got a whole bunch of people stacked fake lies upon them offensively, tied to the abuses of them with the youngest ages. But they don't understand it because everyone just needs to go forward with positive. And they need to have remembered only self-valued roles within as criminal insidiousness nature. The answers we have for the grammar school is now. See, we have racketeering that's pretending sensibilities in relationship to things that have nothing to do. Now they're preventing free speech. They're faked conversations with me in the past. They have people sequence shift. And then the Joe tomorrow. I explained the exception. I only saw him on campus, I remember, one time. And I never saw one time on campus the brother or the sister. I don't know how many of them. I heard there were two of the chick Casper and his sister. And this is also involved with racketeering with people tied to car dealerships. Like with the guy kept repeating, it's about a Lincoln dealership associated with a Mike Pandoff, with racketeering with prosecutors. Their roles, all kinds of police forms and stuff like that, because they get people to use the identities of the ground, their relationship. They're all victims, like the people who work in the elderly homes. It's a bit, but they're going to know they're going to make time treatments. They're going to be, they're keeping self-valued what can't be valued and healed. Only negative value nature regressions, action nature can be stay. And that can never be valued but as criminal insidiousness nature. But they won't let free speech be anything but roles. Also, per the same method that is being prevented, demonstrated, uses, and needed enforced all to roles with color used criminally. Kaepernick and President Trump are being forced to be fake sides together. Criminal insidiousness nature. Roles with a method that knew that everything we have to say to our kids teach age ahead of time. So they're going to exploit that, especially for the method of child abuse. These are the experts on what age is going through. Oh, they're all lie at this age for a reason. Not like they say. He meant pray. So we have more people that all we need is response. Otherwise, we're going to go deeper and deeper into all that was faked. Because I'm going to need a response, because there were more people associated with my new and past neighbors facilitated to racketeering. So they have with other ones, with the house next to them too, and behind them evolved further with proven and further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering acts and roles with child offenders and their family members, involved further also with the medical families that forge names, switch names, attached me to fake locations. WFSB pretended I had a mental diagnosis as a kid and was attached to doctors. They did that because every once like a couple times I did things that, in other words, but stupid like any kid, but not like any kid. Like, in other words, not every kid has um the life progressions, the same relationship to the life progressions and the standing life progression cover up nature's needs in relationship to to what they do and keep, which is each age of sophistication natures, roles valuing, originating still hurt, criminally foreign influence, identity of correlation nature, fake middles, criminally foreign influence middle, fake sides of correlation nature, which is the Trinity, all ways. So we have this obfuscated. We have the value of a predicate obfuscated because we have the organized crime method that knew that they would keep psychos blaming the uh, the wrong groups for the real causes of the sustained predicate acts, which are recorded inseparable from the originally still left criminally foreign influence states and areas and sciences. Also, delusions wrought. We need free speech now. Foxct Connecticut News says they've been coached to this. They've been pretending things recorded with people, a whole bunch of people tied to the clubs downtown, also involved with racketeering, with the shared policing of the stores intercities, shared policing of clubs intercities, on off. You're out of your minds with psychology, with forging names, switching names, hiding that. There's sustains either. I can't counter that. Can't counter aggression. Needs to be countered. Can't counter fake care. That needs to be countered. Can't liberate ourselves. We have high predators associated with each thing. Boxing. And boxing. I can't do business too. With boxing, any I need to respond. This because I'm using evidence with what is true always and not denying exceptions, which reveals that only people are allowed to talk are people with physical delusions, criminally foreign influence fact treatments, not even realizing it too. All kinds of racketeering roles, spread uses of the identity ground fake originally still. So then we don't have to go into deeper with the boot black, repeated, involved with across the street from the Homeland Security. So I have to keep describing places and people I don't know that want me, need me to, because they need to pretend things. They've painted all these fake things recorded so many ways, but people gave affidavits about it. That makes it look like I knew them before that too. That's involved with a whole bunch of patterns and natures of sequence shifts, notes of names, forging and switching, racketeering originally and still that are, of course, is really about. You want to stop the crazy shootings and patterns, you have to understand their roles with it. This is not just by accident, they're here like themed. No, I make that a YouTube video, black with those white letters. Then all of a sudden, there's the guy shooting with black, white letters. These are also the people already involved, whole bunch of nations. Before they had that coalition in the Iraq war, before they went up to the Trade Center, they already had the Pentagon Trade Center racketeering with the people on with this Joe DeMoro, Mike Kerr, and their roles with Maple Street, the corner there up leading up to them, the roles with the state's attorney's office, with the Weathersfield Police Department, racketeering on off it, foreign and domestic military involve identity thefts. They've motivated. They pretend it's through other motivations because Of course, they're gonna have motivation. They're glad to exploit the identity of the ground positions, knowing where their girls are gonna be. They're using that to maintain criminally foreign influence stewards of us, racketeering through the kids. It shouldn't be hard to tell the PA to demonstrate the PTO involved also with the military with the overt criminal enterprises, racketeering acts, MPO Floyd, Justin Glavinskis, his brother, his father, associated with racketeering with houses in my area with police forms, foreign and domestic, mail crimes, wire crimes, drug crime rolls, formal, informal. They're also associated with racketeering with medical locations clicks, people associated with former director of the FBI down criminally, leading up to the Trade Center attack in it, leading up to a 2006 case in it. Also, that having been facilitating further racketeering on and off CCSU. I think his name is CJ, associated with people associated with the corner of the corners of Highcrest Street, with the further racketeering associated with the kids, with the child offenders associated with the Wethersfield police chief and his immediate and extended family, foreign. Also associated with the foreign and domestic racketeering acts in natures, also with a pattern of finite lies pretending to know me with the passion crimes online, for example. Categorically, a whole bunch of people on and off 2-Route Highway associated with this, with FBI, racketeering associated with AT&T, not just with the wire crimes. These are uses of identity of the ground, how they use the identity of campuses and the sensibilities of all that with it attached to them, everyone speaking through others, and that exploited by the organized crime method originally and still, that effectively keeps all facilitated the motivations, natures, needs, and interests other than our actual. I mean, they're real, but they're hiding they're hiding the offensive racketeering, criminally foreign, the real method. It means they have the people on Wells Road up to CCSU involved racketeering with Russians, with this Leahy family, with these Dingleberry people, with these people associated with the Samuel Dix house, with the racketeering with the kids, with the military family people that I don't know at all and barely that are involved with database racketeering though, with also mobile gas stations. This is racketeering that involves judges forging names, switching names, faking recorded things into written records and to spoken records, attaching kids to fake locations, fake sequence nature relationships, fake relationships to others. Whole bunch of people in the Britain Superior Court, whole bunch of people on and off the state judicial branch offices, with these people on and off the state prison offices, with the racketeering, with 2 speech class teachers I had. Never had a personal conversation with them. Offensively, it was professed by them and through them confirmed they're involved with racketeering with retired police forms and standing ones in my area associated with racketeering with them. Also with overt criminal enterprises, uses of the witness protection programs, direct and indirect ties to the area, racketeering in the past, involved with a whole bunch of nation shares. So they value, left no integrity here, there, but others pretended. And so, that was exploited. And we're not supposed to hide that. We're not supposed to have people hiding that and exploiting that, which is what we had and have in sustained ways. And their motivations for it are also actually recorded. They're also recorded methodically, needing to pretend by pretending not to realize the court's preventing mandated law by faking recorded things with them and forging and switching names, so leaving no means to even sue. Because they're also racketeering with former director of the FBI against each age of fact-cheating nature. They don't have the integrity to speak about what really was the causes of the predicate acts associated with slavery. I'm not even a lawyer. I'll delineate the delusions from their physical these are used for they use a whole bunch of people associated with that area next to the campuses of in that Samuel Dick's house. The other hill also involved with sequence shifts, racketeering with the corners of that grammar school and with the retired and standing mayors involved with the racketeering with the shared policing. A whole bunch of other nations recorded, confessed, and demonstrated roles with racketeering associated with family members of extended family members of a house in my area associated with this, and with an as a Scalora family and a Phil Clow involved with identity thefts, involved with evidence racketeering, involved with on-off campuses racketeering with databases, involved with verbal racketeering, involved with worse natures of crimes. This just reminds, pretending they knew me behind my back to my family, like they're going to be in they know they're going to be they were in the real estate office. That's why, thank God, my mother didn't do business with Phil Law because he was rude too. These are offensive evidence racketeering roles, also with Panera Bread and with undercover police associated with medical campuses, who are also involved with sexual abuses of girls, trafficking, again with the FBI involved, because they're involved with these with the judicial branch racketeering, attaching little kids to fake locations, forcing sexual crime acts, even with their own Facebook pages, forcing sequence shifts, forcing fakes recorded things in their databases through time. I just remind. So we're going to come up from Wethersfield Pizza is involved with this whole bunch of people too, with the on off the. I only know these people from confessions and from their roles with racketeering. That's the only context. I barely know Maria Vizino, and this is also again FBI racketeering with that area, with people of all associated foreign domestic military now involved with child sex offenders, and further racketeering with the FBI with the transition from ALCA to RICO, and with in the past also with their roles with racketeering with the Fianza family, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with them with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, and roles with police forms and their roles with like junkyards, involved with agencies and things like that, involved with racketeering, with overt criminal enterprises, uses of that to keep the fire departments criminally foreign influence campuses, no, training of them campuses, every nature of campus. Harvard Hospital's campus, no, of institutional living, 1822. Harvard still had slavery in it, left by George Washington, forced to leave it. We even with the French general's help right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, having to come here to semi-counter extort. Not by accident. 1822, they were still with slavery in the North. When we didn't have the leverage to get entrenched out, all fact cheaping nature racket roles, fake sides too, all blaming other things, others, and self for what was causing the predicate acts. Really, the most. The Delafair family, people associated with a Violet family, military racketeering, racketeering with police, interbranch police, sheriffs like a Josh Schumack. See, but these are people facilitated to it. These are victims. They want to be able to have them speak, but no one else speak. These are identity racketeering roles. Uses of his mother for racketeering with child sex offenders. He's not going to give up his mother, so he's going to keep everyone knave. So everyone's going to hide from mandated law. These are criminal uses of a whole bunch of people racketeering at the end of with all the golf courses, because these are all the businesses. These are identities in relationship to the value progression each edge of fact treatment nature is. In the original racketeering trap where no one could have free speech, all fake. CT, you break. No, but